Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we just installed the Dexter onto the Canadarm, and now we need to install the pressurized section of the Kerbal module, not the module, the pressurized section, not the pressurized module, onto the station in a temporary location. And we're going to store that for now in this nadir port, which also needs to be installed. So we need to get over here, right? We need to move the shuttle over. So first things first, let's go backwards a little bit here. And I want to just set this as our target, just so that we have a relative velocity here. So that's now about 0.3 meters per second. I don't want to be heading towards the target right now. But what I do want to do is I want to go backwards, and I want to go a little bit from our perspective here. It's this way, but it's actually up from the perspective of the craft. So that's what we're doing here, is we're just heading over this direction. Okay, so 0.3 meters per second, and it looks like we're going a little too much back. Cool. So let's go a bit forward here then. We want to be heading mostly towards the target right now. Okay. So let's just head over this way. And we can see that we're like off the screen with our velocity, right? That is expected. I want to just head over here. We need to go a little more back than this as we impact the Canadarm, but it's fine. Nope, back. Hang on. This way. There we go. Let's just bring this back a little bit. We just need to get over to the other side. Okay, we shouldn't impact the Canadarm anymore. Nothing blew up, so it should be good, in theory. At this point, we're probably back far enough because we have a little bit of downward vectoring going on. I think the Canadarm pushed us down a little bit, and that's okay. So we can see here, if we want to be in line, we can bring this guy over like so. Okay, now we're going to need to fix this downward velocity, and actually I think the station is tumbling a little bit right now. Let's put the station over onto Kilrot. Okay. Eventually, the Canadarm will get under control as well. Yeah, we definitely still have some downward velocity here. So I just want to bring us up and over. A little bit of upward velocity at this point would not go awry. How are we looking here? Looks like we're going pretty much straight at this point. Okay. So right now, I want to be going this way, which is ever so slightly from our current angling up. And that's fine. There's not a lot of up happening here, to be honest. And I want to go this direction as well. Yeah. So we're just killing some of this velocity right now. Boy, this feels like it's barely moving. 0.5 meters per second still right now. But this is a kind of complicated vector to be altering. No doubt about that. Okay, now we're going approximately the way that I want to be going. I want to rotate us over because we're going to need to be facing this direction. That does mean all of our directionality vectors are going to flip here. That's okay. So from here, we are going to position about there or so. Okay, I want to warp and take a bit of look at what direction we're going. Gotcha. So from here, we need to get rid of our velocity in... Well, RCS needs to be on. Get rid of our velocity in the... From our current perspective, down vector. So we need to do this. Okay. So just bringing this in line with our nose. There we go. Now we're going just up from our current perspective, and that's fine. But we're going to need to bring that right on over. Just getting rid of that velocity as well. We can see that this is kind of lining up here, but we're going to need some forward velocity. So let's just get some forward velocity going here. And we're just going to bring this in somewhat close. I want to be in exclusively forward velocity right now. So we're just going to bring this right on over. We're going a little faster than I'd like at this moment, so we're going to need to reduce that ever so slightly there. As I accidentally stage, we don't actually want that. We can fix that staging, though. That's fine. Okay, so right about here will do. I don't know why this isn't drawing, but okay. We need to disarm these chutes, and I'm just going to slot them in here again. Okay. We'll have to keep in mind that that's the case for the landing. That might cause us some issues. So at this point, we can continue to position ourselves about here. We're just going forward at this moment. And this is pretty close. So let's bring this down to a halt. There we go. Now I want to head in towards the station, which is functionally up from this vector, right? So we need to go down in order to go up. Makes a lot of sense, but there we go. So obviously, we're not going to see our actual vectoring here. That is understood. For now, all we need to do is bring this in pretty close. I don't want the tail to impact. But we're just going to bring it in to somewhere around here. So now we can use the up vector to bring this to a halt. Okay. We're still a little bit heading towards the station, I think, here. There, that's pretty much a halt. Okay, now I'm going to rotate us a bit. We're going to have to head down from here when we go in for our docking. But for right now, this should do. I'm going to have Bill EVA. And Bill, you are going to head down and try to grab on to this hitchhiker storage container. We might be better off actually connecting to this hitchhiker storage container now that I think about it. This might be in a better, more centralized position here. So let's just head over this way. We'll grab onto that. And I want to grab this guy off of here. And I want to attach him right over here. So I think this is the correct position to snap to. So just put it on there. Not bad. Now I want to use snapping here. Grab this guy. And in local space, seems relatively snapped. Okay, checking the angling of this. I think the angling isn't quite right. In absolute space, we need to snap it. Okay, hang on. That was definitely wrong. No, I want you to grab the blue line here. It keeps trying to grab the yellow. Something kind of like that. Okay. Let's grab the place tool here. I think that's probably about as good as we're going to get. Okay. For the time being, I'm going to store Bill. Let's not store him in here. Let's just move this on back, and we'll take him back into the cockpit. I was going to say storing him in the hitchhiker storage container, but that is technically a little bit dangerous. I don't expect it to actually be a problem, but we can now set this docking port as our target, and we can grab this to control from. And then we can RCS. And from this perspective, we need to go functionally down, right? So what direction is down? This way. Okay. Probably could have figured that out from the nav ball, but that's fine. So downward we go, and we're going to have to move probably actually not that much forward. We're in a pretty decent forward position. So just a little bit further down here. And probably a little forward. But this will do for the moment. And I believe we're going to want to remove this docking port, if I recall correctly. I'm not 100% certain about that, but let's bring this to a halt. We overshot this a little bit. Okay. Let's bring it back around. There we go. And then we're going to need to go in the, I believe, a down vector here a little bit. Nope, it's the up vector. I'm wrong. Okay. Somewhere around here. Yeah, that should relatively do. So we can point at target now. And we can head in. Now, our exact vectoring is not perfect. But I don't think it needs to be. We're going to need to go a little bit down from this perspective. And that is, of course, this way. But that's fine. We can certainly do that. Okay. I still think we're pretty good in our horizontal vector, but we do need to go down just a smidge. Things are looking much better on that front. Yeah, this vector looks good for the moment. Once we're pretty close to lined up, then we can bring this directly to target. So, right about... we need to go a little further. Right about... no, we still need to go further. Okay. I feel like we're overshooting this a little bit. So let's just bring this up and in at this point. Yeah, about like this. The angling isn't perfect, but I'm hoping it's close enough. A little bit more down wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world. But I think it's close enough. So in we go. And we don't really care about the angling of this necessarily. A little bit more forward, though. Whoa, we just clipped right through this thing. Okay, that's really awkward. Hang on. That was very strange. Let's try this again. That did even out our vector a fair amount, but we need to go a little bit to the downward vector here, which is this way. And slightly forward. I'm surprised we aren't hitting docking forces here, though. I'm very surprised about that. Interesting. Let's hop over to the station here. And let's set this as our target. Control from here. Point at target. Is that docking forces? I don't know. This clipping is very strange. And unexpected. We're definitely a little off on the angle. There's no doubt about that. So we can adjust our angle out... not that way. We can adjust our angle out this direction. That's definitely docking forces there. Right? That has to be docking forces. Because I'm not telling this to go in towards the port again. I am telling it to change the line up a little bit. Oh boy. We might need to back off of this a little bit. And reline it up. if we do have to back it off here, that's okay. So I'm just trying to pull us back a bit here. Docking forces are kind of messing things up right now. But okay, that should, I think, be relatively fine. Okay, counteracting the docking forces. There we go. Let's bring this to directly away. And now we can bring it directly in. Okay, we'll just try this one more time. It's radially symmetrical, so I don't care about the actual angling of this. As long as we get it docked, that's all I really care about. So checking in on the station here. Yep, we're pointed at target, and then pointed at target here. So this should be a very clean dock here. Assuming that it's not in some way broken because of our placement of this docking port. But I mean, we've moved around docking ports like this before and not had any issues. So this should be absolutely fine. We'll just try this again. I'm going to assume that it's because we were coming in at an awkward angle, which I think we kind of are again. No, we're good. There we go. And it just docks right up. Okay, no problem whatsoever there then. Beautiful. So this is, of course, a temporary storage position. Eventually, it's going to be placed, like, here, going vertically. But for now, this will do. And I do think, for the moment, we should leave this docking port because we're going to want to re-dock to this in order to move it more efficiently. So for right now, let's have Bill EVA. I'm wondering how much strutting to the station we really need here, because this is not in a final position, right? I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to steal this strut, and I'm going to put this strut in, only the single strut. The very next flight, we're going to move this. So we're just going to position it there like that, with just that little bit of added stability. And then we undock from here. And the shuttle is going to head away from the station here. About like that. This guy can be at a target angle of 0. There we go. Okay, so that is this flight to the station completed. We got our Dexter installed, and we got the temporary installation of the pressurized section. Next flight, we're going to be bringing up the pressurized module. So that'll be absolutely great. For now, I want to turn RCS off, and I want to put us into orbital retrograde, which is actually not very far away from here. That said, if we were to burn right now, that tail would be a problem. So we're going to have to warp a bit and get some extra distance between us and the station, which is fine. We're already moving away from the station, so let's just move a little bit faster here. We're moving this way. We really need to be moving vertically here. So we're going to move vertically away from the station here. There we go. That should do the trick. We can close our cargo bay. And let's bring these guys home as soon as we are clear enough of the station, which is definitely here. Okay. Farewell, station. We will be back in not very long, to be honest. Not very long at all. So off we go, and that will be phenomenal. We just need to bring our periapsisite, as usual, down to around 70 kilometers. And yeah, it'll be the pressurized module, and was there a second component to the next flight? I mean, kind of. It's the pressurized module and the remote manipulator system, which I would consider to kind of all be part of the same thing, right? We've got this here as a pressurized module, and then this is the remote manipulator system here. So that'll be fine. And then there'll be an attachment point down here to add in the exposed facility and the exposed section. But that's okay. How are we doing on our periapsisite? We're still decently high up here. We can continue to bring this down. The station is still loaded in, so the frame rate is not the best in the world, but that's okay. It'll unload in a moment here. Right about now. There we go. Station unloads, and that is so much smoother. So much smoother. Our periapsis height is actually kind of low here, but I'm going to call that okay. I think that's fine. And we'll just bring this down to about 10 kilometers from here. We're prioritizing bringing this back quickly over targeting any particular location because we know we're fine to land on both land and water. Although we also know that there was something that we needed to remember about landing this thing. And I can't remember what it was. Oh boy. You know, I think I'm conflating two things now that I think about it. In Europa, we needed to remember that we were going to need to replace 2 units of cannon, and we did. And I remember that last episode, we needed to remember something about landing because we had accidentally moved these landing gear. I think I'm conflating those two things, and we didn't actually need to remember anything about landing this thing other than the standard procedures. I'm going to hope that that's what happened. Well, it'll be fine, I'm sure. We have Bill here on the ship, right? Yes, indeed. Bill was not left on the station, so that's good. Let's warp. And we're going to commence this burn. It'll be about a 43-second burn. Will this be burning entirely in atmosphere? Quite possibly. Yes. I'm going to commence the burn early, right now. So we're just going to burn about here, and we're burning slightly radially because we are burning early, but I wanted to start the burn before we hit the atmosphere. We are in atmosphere right now, but I want to continue to slow this down just because if we get too deep into the atmosphere, we're going to have a really hard time turning this thing around. So I want this burn to be done sooner rather than later. That's the goal anyway. So we're currently needing a few more seconds of burn. Here we can physics warp this. There we go. This is good enough. Let's move this around to horizontal velocity up. And we'll just get it rotated right on over. Atmosphere is still thin enough here that we can easily change our orientation. That will, of course, change. Okay, let's physics warp on forward. Beautiful. Sun is rising. Are we looking at a land or a sea landing here? Honestly, that could be either way. I think this might be a land landing, though. That's my suspicion. Yeah, I'm reasonably certain about that. Looks like land. So that's okay. We can definitely do a land landing. It's just always considerably spicier. Turns out land is, like physically harder than water. Water is more malleable, pliable. It'll form around you. Litho braking is effective. A little too effective. No doubt about that. So we are slowing down somewhat here. I mean, it doesn't look like it here. We can go into surface velocity mode here, and we can keep an eye on that. We're currently accelerating, but we're about to start decelerating. There we go. Now we're decelerating. We can see land over here, so we're definitely going to be going for a land landing, as expected. Sounds good. In terms of what kind of terrain lies in front of us, this is pretty much all plain. Yeah, that's not going to be a problem. If we were going to be landing in these mountains, that could theoretically be an issue, but there's just this section of mountain here, but we're going to bypass that. So this should be absolutely okay. We are still 30 kilometers up here, and we're bleeding off large quantities of speed. So that's good. We need to transition as much of our horizontal speed into nothingness as we can. We're like transitioning it into heat right now, and that's kind of ideal. 1,300 meters per second. We're definitely slowing down nicely. We can see the edge of the land over here, but I don't think we're going to get to it. Oh, that chute was still in deployment. Okay. I thought I turned off both chutes, but sure. Let's go to kill rot here. And I want to start diving down. So I want to go to surface velocity up. That's the goal. There we go. We managed to get that under control. I guess we may as well deploy this chute as well, just so that we have an even amount of force here. That was non-ideal. I guess that was the thing that I needed to remember, was that we had these chutes done. That's right. Okay, so there was a thing. Good to know. Well, we got there in the end, I think. We'll be okay. We're diving down right now. I'm going to put us in kill rot. We're going to start pulling out of this dive fairly soon, but we're still 5 kilometers up at this moment. Our drogue chutes have deployed. Oh, they're pulling us way up here. Noted. And then we went right back down. Okay, that's awkward. I want to lose additional altitude here. Those drogue chutes are problematic. No doubt about it. But I'm trying to turn us a little bit here. So I want to park it about here. That looks much better. And we're moving pretty slowly here, but we need to lose altitude. We're still a kilometer up, and our speed is very slow because of the chutes. But that's okay. We're going to start nosing up here. Ooh, hang on. Nosing up. Okay. I guess this is the direction we're going. Actually, this is not tremendously awful. Although we are moving a little faster than I'd like at this point. Yep, we're going to nose down here. Ooh, bouncing. We lose that one wing. Brakes on. We lose the other wing. Okay. That wasn't the worst landing we've had. So deploying those chutes that early was definitely non-ideal. The good news here is only one engine ended up detaching. And again, any landing that you can walk away from is a good landing. But the chutes deploying that early was very, 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 very non-ideal. That ended up meaning that we lost a lot of our horizontal speed too early, which meant that we were getting too much vertical speed. We want to have most of our speed when we come in for the landing being horizontal speed, but the chute deployment made that difficult. That said, we walk away from this, and we do get at least 2 of these vectors back. So it's not the worst landing in the world, and we did survive it. We'll call it good. So we need to get our payment for that, and then we also are going to need to... Well, we're going to need to design the pressurized module next. That's going to be interesting to fit into the shuttle, but I'm sure we'll find a way to do it. But we need to get our payment here, and this really should be the end of the episode here. It's past time for that a little bit already, so that's all good. We'll get the pressurized module and the robotic arm for that designed in the next episode. For now, of course, we got to get that payment. So let's get the payment here. There we go. And you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kitogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time.